let's just get it. First of all, I need to know, doing research on you, of course, Wikipedia is a thing. Not that it is always accurate, but it says you also go by Eva le Dragon. Is this true?
Yeah, well, so there's a bit of a backstory to that nickname. When I was a kid, I grew up with, so I have boy cousins on my mom's side of the family, and we used to spend like entire summers together at like the family cottage. So I spent a lot of time with my two cousins, both older. Um, and they would just tease me and do anything to make me crazy and just get on my nerves and mess with my hair and hide my dolls, and they wouldn't let me play with their on their Nintendo games. Just being teased as a kid. And then I remember this TV show, this kids TV show that was called Dudley the Dragon. You might have known it. I don't know. It
Heard of
was
it?
more. I think it was. Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was on CBC or I can't remember, but it had this really, gosh, kind of annoying but very, very hooky theme song like Dudley, Dudley the Dragon, Dudley, Dudley the Dragon. And my cousins would just sing it over and over again to the point that it would drive me crazy. And I'd be like, oh, stop singing that song. And then they started going, Eva, Eva le Dragon, Eva, Eva le Dragon. But joke's on them because later on we made it cool so that, Eva le Dragon, because I spit fire, because I started to sing, and so that's the story.
That's the story. Okay, fair. I did see Amanda did ask, and I don't know if this is true or not, but she goes, I want to know why you're not making music anymore. Are you making music? What's going on?
uh, well, my last original album was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Amanda, yes, fair question. I do get it once in a while. I've done three original albums in total. Two with Sony BMG, and the third one a little later, which was an EP, was distributed by E1 Canada with a bunch of songs that I co-wrote, and I got to handpick my team of writers and such. So, and that release was like 2015, so I'm 11 years ago. It's been
But
a minute.
I mean, unless I'm wrong, I would think as an artist, you're still always like coming up with songs, writing songs, or just playing around. Like, so in that time since 2015, have you made any new songs or sang any or come up with any?
I've written a bunch of songs. Yeah, I took
Yeah.
part in some awesome songwriting camps. So not necessarily for me, but for
Yeah.
other artists. That's super fun too, to get in the room and be creative with other songwriters that you don't necessarily have the pressure of like having to write that hit song for yourself. Like, what's my next sound? What do I want to talk about? And don't get me wrong, I have a lot to talk about. As I get older, I have more and more material to write about. So it's kind of ironic that I haven't released any new original music in so long. But yes, I have written songs. I have a lot of demos. I have a lot of like, rough drafts of songs that can really turn into something special. I'm definitely going to record new music at some point in my career. That is a promise that I made to myself. But in the past decade, if you've done a little digging, you'll see that I've been more in the cover tribute world for a few years now,
Mhm.
and I'm also an actress, so I've been dipping my toes in that for quite some time now. But as far as original music goes, there will be some in my future. I definitely feel that in my gut. Um, but it's going to be really organic and intuitive, and it's going to happen kind of naturally. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff to say, and I think I have a lot of stories to tell and to sing, and a lot of music creativity left in me. And I'm really lucky because I'm surrounded by a bunch of super talented people who I could collaborate with. And but yeah, definitely miss flexing those songwriting muscles and get back into the studio. So one day, I promise. I just can't say when. We'll
Yeah,
see.
fair enough. And I do want to talk about soon about like other artists you've worked with, because I do have I've talked to someone who you've worked with in the past, but before, actually my buddy Tony, he's asking, did you have a say in your album after winning Canadian Idol? So your first
Hi,
album,
Tony. First of all, hi, the people who are joining. And also, we'll be able to share this because, in case people can't join live. Um, did I have a say? Actually, I did in the song selection, which was great. So, as you can imagine, Canadian Idol, huge whirlwind. Everything went like 1,000 trillion miles an hour. Um, so the summer went by just like in a flash. It was such a whirlwind, such a roller coaster, such a thrill. And then right when I won, uh, the night after, or sorry, that same night, right away I went into the press conference where I was announced the winner, and then all the journalists, the media was there, and then right on the spot on live television, I was signing my contract with Sony. So it was really fast. And then 2 months later, or 2.5 months later, the album was released, my first album, which was Somewhere Else. Um, and Sony, what they did is they did a pre-selection of a bunch of songs because we were getting uh, many submissions from writers from all over the world, which was a huge blessing. Like I couldn't really believe it. I was hearing that songwriters from LA were submitting songs because they wanted they wanted to hear my voice on some of their music. So I got a pile of CDs. Remember CDs back when we used to listen to CDs, these little round plastic things. So I remember going home to my Toronto apartment um, and just playing one CD after another and making notes of what songs were my favorites. So, in terms of the song selection, I definitely did have a say, but there was no time for me to get into the studio and start songwriting, and the timeline was much too tight. But at least I got to handpick some of my favorite songs that I wanted to record, and I did get some say in the producing studio as well with Rob Wells, who to this day is still one of my dear friends, an amazing songwriter, arranger, producer, and I got my chance to put my 2 cents in, like, oh, could we make it sound a little bit more rock, or could we add an acoustic guitar here, or could we do a little synth there, or could we change that melody? And I got to ad lib in the studio and have fun with the melodies. And so I feel like I was able to be creative, even though it was such a tight schedule and literally less than 3 months, the album had to be out after I was announced the winner. So
Yes,
long-winded answer to your question.
it was definitely a whirlwind, and I'm glad to hear that you had a bit of say in like what went what into that album. And speaking of that first album, it was very successful. I do want to talk about, of course, one of the songs, "Meant to Fly." For those who don't know, Rain Maida and Chantal Kreviazuk helped write and produce that song.
Yeah, they wrote
Yeah.
they wrote the song with another talented songwriter, Gabby Moreno, I believe her name is, and it was produced by Rob Wells once again. And it was so funny because I don't know if you know this, but that song was actually recorded by the 4 finalists. So me, Chad Doucette, Tyler Lewis, and Craig Sharp. We all spent a day in the studio, and one after the other, we each did it in a couple hours each, right? We each recorded our own versions so that whoever ended up winning, the single had to be out to all national radio stations the next morning, all across Canada. So whoever won, the version had to be out to radios the next morning. So they were all ready to go. So that was super interesting. Not a lot of people know that, but the other versions were really cool. Like they each had their own flavor, and Rob Wells is such a talented producer. He made some magic with that song.
That is a really cool fact. That again, it was also recorded by other people. But correct me if I'm wrong. There's no music video for that song.
You are right. There is no music
Why?
video for that song.
That's the most. I feel like that's your one of the biggest, especially it's the most streamed song I saw on Spotify. So
Yeah. Oh, really? That's interesting.
yeah,
Well, yeah, that was my first single. That's a good question. I think it comes down to scheduling because we wanted to follow up because that was, what they call the winner single. And again, Chantal Rain, so talented. It's kind of funny because I had a quick exchange with Chantal recently because she and I have a friend in common, Randy Cook, who's an amazing drummer. And yeah, she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's been so long," and she's still so talented. I have so much respect for that woman. But yeah, no music video. We followed up really quickly with my next single after that, which was I Owe It All to You, which that one had a video. It was super fun. I remember we shot in the middle of the night in Toronto, November. It was freezing cold, but I had a lot of fun. But that's a good question. I don't know why. I think it was just too tight of a schedule. No time to make a music video.
fair enough. No, listen, I've spoken with other artists and asked them the same question, like, why doesn't this song have a music video? And sometimes it's just there's no right or wrong reason. It's just it wasn't meant to be, or
Yeah.
scheduling. Sticking with Canadian Idol, first of all, it's funny how you said, and I didn't realize this until when you mentioned it before, how it's 20 years this year, which is wild how time flies. I
Mhm.
know we feel very old, but I want to talk about because I feel like most people don't mention this or know about this, but one of the other top 10 finalists, Rob James from McMaster and James. First of all, I need to know, did you know about McMaster and James? And if so, were you a fan of them? Like, what was that connection, or were you aware of them?
I was for sure aware of them. I think I knew their biggest hit songs. I knew Thank You, of course.
Yeah,
And what's the other one? Is it Love Wins Every Time?
you got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was aware of them for sure. But I didn't make the connection. Like when he showed up and we all got together and we entered top 10 and started, fraternizing between us and getting to know each other, I didn't really know. And then when I found out he was from McMaster and James, then I was like, oh, yeah, of course I know those songs. But then I kind of put two and two together, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. This guy has already like a great career. Super talented guy, amazing vocalist. His partner Luke McMaster, ironically, years later when I ended up winning Idol and the following years as well, I ended up writing a bunch of songs with him. Super, super talented, very versatile, really nice guy. Yeah, I met some great people throughout that experience. I'm super lucky.
Yeah, well, so I was going to bring it up, but you already mentioned it. So yeah, I spoke with Luke a couple of years ago, and yeah, I learned through talking to him that he worked with you. So because beyond him being an artist himself, he's also worked and written and produced for so many people in the Canadian scene, which I'm always fascinated about. So if you don't mind me asking, actually, besides let's say Luke and Chantel and Rain, are there any other people that you could say that you've worked with, like Canadian artists that people maybe aren't aware of?
Uh, I did. So my single "Falling for You" was
Yeah.
produced by Adam Messenger, who works a lot with Justin Bieber. He's Canadian. I could, when I worked with him, he was living in Toronto, so I don't know if he's Toronto native, but I know he's Canadian. And then he moved to LA, and he's been in LA ever since. So what's funny about that single is that it was added at the last minute. It was like a very, very last minute addition to the record to somewhere else. Um, we were going to release the record. It was done. I was done recording. My voice was so tired. I was going home to get to know for like Thanksgiving, to have a little bit of a vacation. I was just like, the album's done. Hallelujah. And then my A&R guy, Jonathan Ramos, he was like, you got to hear the song. It's a hit. It's a hit. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll listen to it. But like, I'm so tired. I just want to go home for a bit. And then he played me the song. And I was like, okay, we have to record it. It is a hit. So got into the studio with Adam Messenger and did that in a day. And it was super fun. And it's still to this day one of my favorite songs off the record. It's super catchy. I think it aged well, if I do say so myself. I think it still sounds pretty cool today. So yeah, Adam Messenger. My gosh, I worked with, well, of course, on the show I had these amazing mentors. On the contest on Idol, Cyndi Lauper, Tony Bennett, Chantal Kreviazik herself, not knowing that I would later have her song on my record. Cyndi Lauper, actually, I worked with her in the studio. She wrote and produced a song off my first record. Got to spend a whole week with her in Toronto. She came to my apartment. We, spent a bunch of time at the studio in Sony BMG offices. She taught me all these crazy, weird vocal exercises. She was incredibly generous with her time and her knowledge. And yeah, I have a song on my first record that's written and produced by Cyndi. It's called This Kind of Love. And she invited me during that same time. She invited me to sing with her at Casino Rama. She was doing a show there, and I got up on stage with her to sing time after time. And girls want to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. Bare feet, jumping on her piano, dancing around, singing live at Casino Rama. It was so much fun. And I don't have recording of that, which is crazy.
Oh,
Just like I don't have proof of my opening for Beyonce on her Canadian tour. That is completely undocumented. I don't have a single picture with her.
mm,
And people just have to believe my word, because I swear to God, it was in another era where people didn't have their phone and their Instagram glued to their hand. Blows my
yes.
mind that I don't have any proof of that, but I have memory in my heart and in my head.
Fair enough. I only know about Adam Messenger because he worked with Nasri, who was with Magic, you know,
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Another
Talented, super talented bunch.
Canadian, and and Nasri also worked with Justin Bieber. Anyways, it's all these connections.
Nasri
And
has a song on my second record. Him and Adam wrote a song
uh,
called Say Goodbye, which is a beautiful ballad. That's on my second record. So, yeah, I mean, it's a small world, but
Yeah.
everybody ends up knowing someone who worked with one of your friends, and it's a cool little music circle in Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I've learned so much doing these interviews about the connections. So in another interview, I don't know if you read this book or finished it. You said you were reading a book called All You Need to Know About the Music Business. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, that would have been a very old interview because I read that right after I won Idol, so it would have been 2006, 2007. So
Oh,
10 years
okay.
ago. I don't
It's a long
remember it
time ago.
very well, but they reissued it a bunch of times because you very well know that the music business is super different today with all the streaming platform and the digital era and this era of social media. The way we consume music is also super different. So I think they reissue that book every few years, if I'm not mistaken. But I did read it, but it's been 20 years.
Okay. No, that's fair. So either is there something from that book that you remember, or just in general, just from your experience of over 20 years in the industry, like what's would you say is one of the most important things that you've learned about the music industry?
Wow, that's $1 million question.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really important to, and this sounds super cheesy, but I've come to, at almost 39 years old, I've come to realize that it's what I try to allow, it's what I try to be guided by in my day-to-day life, whether it's professionally or personally, is to, as best as possible, listen to your gut and listen to your instinct. If you have like a ball in your stomach and you feel like something's off, or you're not feeling something and you're feeling like this isn't me, this isn't what I want, this we I think we human beings are very, very blessed to be gifted with some kind of sixth sense and intuition, and call it a gut feeling, call it a little intuition voice. But I think, especially in a business like music, which is so intuitive and instinctive and such an emotional connection, whether you're doing covers on stage connecting with an audience, or recording in a studio and just telling your own stories, knowing that it's going to connect with somebody out there. Always go with your gut, always listen to what your initial, like, visceral reaction is. If you get butterflies and good feelings, then go with it. If you get like a pit in your stomach that's not a good feeling, then do something about it. Don't just go along because it's the easy choice, or because you don't want to disappoint people. And but that's a life's homework, I think, for a lot of people. It's hard to stay true to yourself and not give a crap about how it's going to be received. It's a challenge for sure, not just for musicians, for
Yeah,
humans.
no, a great answer. And like you said, it's not just in music, but in life is trusting your gut. I 100% agree. So well said. I do want to go back to something that I learned about you. I didn't know about this. Is how you you voiced the theme song for My Canada in the Canadian Pavilion at Epcot. And
Yes,
the
yeah.
fun fact is you're going to be there until 2032 for 25 years, from '07 to 2032, I believe you said. So just briefly tell me how you got that gig.
Well, geez, you're making me take a nice trip down memory lane. So that was I remember my manager at the time called me, said, "Hey, we have an offer from Disney," and I was like, "Woo! Anything Disney!" I was just so excited. Um, so recording, there was already an existing older version of that song, My Canada, and they were interested in having my voice on the new version, which was going to run for 25 years. So I was like beyond excited. So I remember spending a day at the studio, putting my voice on it. And then they actually flew me out to Orlando at Disney World to launch the new, not only the new theme song, but the new movie. So for those of you who don't know, if you take a trip to Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and you go into the Canadian Pavilion, sorry, back up, you go to the Epcot Center. At one point, there's all these pavilions. It's like small versions of countries. So you have the Canadian Pavilion, you have the Germany Pavilion, you have Mexico. Gosh, I'm getting great souvenirs right now. Memories, not souvenirs. That's French.
It's
See, my
okay.
brain is thinking in four languages.
Je me
Um,
souviens.
je me souviens. Des souvenirs, memories in English. And then at one point, there's like a cute little amphitheater, not amphitheater, sorry. What's the word?
Say French.
Omni Theater. How do you call it when it's a 360 screen?
Oh God, that's a good question. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
We'll
matter.
find later. We'll ask Google. Um, and then the movie is narrated by Martin Short, the amazing Martin Short. And at the very end, with the rolling credits, the song "My Canada" comes along, and it's my voice on it. So I got to go there for the launch. Got to bring my dad and my little brother, who at the time was super young. Gosh, he must have been 7 or 8 years old. I got to spend like 3, 4 days with them. We went on all the rides and took a tour of all the parks and had like VIP access. It was just paradise for me and my family. It was just so much fun. And you just reminded me that that song is and that film, that version of the film, is going to run until 2032. That's
Yeah,
insane. I have to go back at least once before
yeah,
2032. I have to go and witness it again. And you can find it on YouTube. A lot of people go and they record with their phone the actual film on the screen, and you can hear the theme song. It's a really
yeah.
nice song.
I
Very
saw.
good.
I mean, unless there's more clips out there, I saw one clip. It's a very like grainy clip of someone inside there with, and you hear your voice. So I love that, and I love like when you hear like about these artists. So like another one that comes to mind is, although it's a little controversial, not that it was her, not nothing to do with her, but Susie McNeil. She was the voice behind Marineland at one point. If you know
Oh
Susie McNeil,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Wasn't she on season 3?
Was she on Canadian Idol?
She was.
Did I know that? I don't know.
Uh, Now I'm sorry. I'm doubting myself, but I'm 98% sure she was.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think she
Because
was.
she also did something
Let's
for the
fact
Olympics.
check after we hang up, but I'm
Because
pretty
she
sure
also
she
did
was.
for the Olympics too. I know for the in Vancouver in 2010. Anyways, yeah,
I did the closing ceremonies at
right.
the
And you,
in
yeah, there
Vancouver.
you go.
Were we both at the closing ceremonies, or was she at the opening ceremonies?
I don't know.
It's been 16 years. Why would we remember so vividly? But that's, I must say, along with touring with Beyonce, performing at the closing ceremonies at the Winter Olympics in Vancouver, one of my highlights, career highlights for sure.
Yeah,
It was
I can
incredible.
only imagine.
Just
Now it's happening again
wonderful.
right now in like 2 days. Yeah,
I know. In Italy, which I don't know if you know, but my husband's Italian and I have a home there, so it's kind of like a
yeah.
second home. And it's crazy. It's funny how
So
this works.
why aren't you? You should be going.
I should. Um, you're right, I should. Maybe I will. So right now I have a bunch of stuff in the works and as I said before, I'm an actress, so I'm up for a few auditions, different productions, and there's a few things brewing. And I want to do a bunch of things. I want to focus on my acting career. I want to perhaps release new music down the road, but not like in the near future. But um, I want to take acting lessons. I want to continue to expand my voice. I've been working with a vocal coach for several years now, just to stay in shape, because singing is an athletic activity. It requires a lot of muscle and a lot of like flexibility, and so I'm pushing 40 slowly but surely. So I just want to make sure I stay healthy, holistically, including my voice, because my voice is my tool. It's my instrument. It's how I make a living. So I can't take it for granted ever.
Absolutely, and it definitely takes a toll on you when you sing. And I want to get into your Britt Floyd era because for those who don't know, you toured with Britt Floyd, and also and in that you also you went on to sing "The Great Gig in the Sky," like that specific song that which I only learned about recently. But like to have to sing that, like that takes a lot of strength. Just talk to me about that experience, how you got that gig, and then how you were chosen to sing that song.
Well, that was so if we back up, when I left Toronto in 2010 and I moved to Montreal, I wanted to be closer to my hometown. And I just wanted to come back to Quebec for a little bit because I'm born and raised from Gatineau, and my first language is French. And I just kind of wanted a change of scenery. I had been living in Toronto for several years, ever since Idol. I absolutely love Toronto. I try to visit as often as I can. I have a big soft spot for that city. But I wanted to move to Montreal. So when I got there, I was kind of like not starting over, but I had to do like a new it was like a second win. I had to like do some networking, and I wanted to work in French, and I was, starting to write some songs in French as well. And I ended up meeting a producer, songwriter. His name is Richard Petit, and he was starting up like a cover band, like a rock cover band. And I remember him asking me, "Do you sing rock?" And I was like, "I don't know, like not really." I'm more of like the pop R&B soul um, kind of vocalist at that time. My album Somewhere Else, and super pop. But then he told me, he's like, "I saw you do that Billy Idol song on 80s Week on Canadian Idol," and he was like, "You can really rock." And what really kind of uh, took me by surprise when he told me that was that I thought that was my weakest performance ever during the entire competition, because it was so out of my comfort zone, which, by the way, is exactly why I chose to do that song, because I wanted to challenge myself. It just was so like not me and unexpected. So, but he told me, he's like, "I think you have a voice that could really rock. You could sing rock." And I was like, okay. So he gave me some gigs, and I really, really had fun. And he introduced me to the universe that is Pink Floyd. Like most people, I knew the biggest hits. I knew Another Brick in the Wall, Comfortably Numb, Hey You, Money. But I didn't really know their entire albums, and I didn't know what they were all about until I started working with that band. And then fast forward a couple of years later, we were playing festivals in Quebec, and he told me that, this song, The Great Gig in the Sky, it's just, for those of you who don't know, it's just a vocal solo without words. It's just oohs and ahs, and it's a song about, there's actually spoken words in the song that says, "I'm not frightened of dying." So it goes through the entire range of emotions that you can possibly think of in 5 minutes of music without any words. So he told me, "Can you learn this song? We're going to do it at whatever show." And I was completely taken aback. I said, "Are you crazy? I can't do that. No, I can't do that. That's insane." But he kind of encouraged me and pushed me to do it. He's like, "I'm sure you can do it. Give it a go." And a couple weeks later, I was doing it on a stage at some festival in Quebec, and I kind of like fell in love with that piece of music. Um, and I got the bug, and I performed it many, many times during that summer, and for several years after that with that same band. And then there was a video of me on YouTube, and then Britt Floyd was searching for a vocalist that could sing Great Gig in the Sky. They found my video on YouTube. They sent me an email offering me a tour, and basically the rest is history. That's literally how I got the gig. They came and found me on YouTube. The power of the
What
internet.
which is incredible. But like, was it just for that song? Because then what was, or was it also just for like for backing vocals as well that they were
Oh
looking
yeah,
for?
yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were looking for a new backing vocalist because there was one of the vocalists that was leaving, um, and of course they were looking for a singer that could do that song, because it's a pretty challenging solo. You have to have the vocal range for it, which is like mezzo soprano. It takes a lot of stamina, a lot of like, it's very vocal prowessy, vocal gymnastics, a lot of breath support, a lot of mixed voice. It's not an easy song. And they wanted someone that had the right range and the right vocal tone for it. So that's why that video they found on YouTube, that's why they didn't ask me to audition, because that was my audition. They already saw that I could do it. But yes, to answer your question, they also needed a backing singer that could do the rest of the show. It's a 3-hour show. That's their thing. They do very, very extensive and complete tributes to Floyd. And yeah, so I ended up touring with them for 8 years at average 120 shows per year all around the world. And that's how I met my husband. Like, amazing, amazing memories with that band. It's one of the greatest times of my life.
Yeah, which is a great story. And, there's a lot of videos on YouTube of you singing that in Brit Floyd.
There's a lot.
One of them I found has like 800,000 views, but the comments, I don't know if you've seen the comments, over 2,000 comments. And a lot of them are just saying, this is the best rendition I've ever seen or heard before. Like, that's got to feel
That means
good
so
for you. But like, have you ever, I also assume there must have been some pressure that you felt when you first had to cover that, no?
Oh, 100%. It's it's very, very big shoes to fill. It's a very tall order because Claire Torrey, the original singer who recorded that song, and any Floyd lover or any music lover knows that story. She was she was a session singer, and she was woken up in the middle of the night to come and record these vocals for some English band, Pink Floyd. She never heard of them, and she drove down to the studio and was like, okay, what do you need? What kind of voice do you need? What kind of, harmonies or whatnot? Do you want improv? Do you want ad libs? And they were just like, these are the piano chords. And our album, is called Dark Side of the Moon. And this piece here, they didn't really know what they were looking for. They just knew that they didn't want any words. And they told her, like, it's a song about how you're not frightened of dying. Like you're afraid at first, and then you kind of surrender, and then they just didn't know what they were looking for specifically. So she just did her thing and she improvised. And I think after only a couple of takes, they said, okay, we've got what we need. And she was like, no, 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 I can do it again. Like that what she wasn't really proud of what she did, but they loved it. And to this day, it's one of the most iconic solos of all time, one of the most iconic songs of all times. It's so powerful, and so yeah, a lot of pressure for sure.
Yeah, and that's thank you for explaining that because I didn't know about that story about her and how it came to be, which makes it even more cool to know that again it was kind of on a whim, or she didn't know, I guess, what it was or what it would lead to, I guess, and that was like the only thing she did for them, I guess, like ever.
I believe so. I think she did. She toured a little bit with them, like she sang it live
Yeah,
on stage on a few. But in terms of studio work, I think that was the only song. She created magic, basically. Like she, out of
yeah,
nowhere, she just created magic. So recreating something that was so spontaneously, beautifully, masterfully done on the spot, improvising, recreating that is really tough. It's really, really tough. Like, sure, you can learn the notes and whatever, but emoting that kind of emotion and that angst that you hear in the song, it's so ethereal, it's so powerful, but yet it's anyway, it's a big, tall order, but it's such a privilege to have that honor to perform that song. And I'm still, can you believe it? I've sung it thousands of times, and I'm still not tired of it. Like I hope to sing it again a lot.
amazing. I
It's
love that.
so yeah, yeah,
I do want to make a little shift from Pink Floyd to some of the music that you grew up with. I say both of us because again we're from the same era, 90s, 2000s. I think we're biased, but I think it was the best time for music.
yeah,
Um,
and 80s.
80s, of course, is great too. But again, my bread and butter is 2000s, but like 90s, 2000s, because again, I grew up with that. We grew
Yeah,
up with that.
yeah.
And I believe your favorite band and one of my favorite band, maybe my favorite, Backstreet Boys. So the most important question, first we got to ask, do you have a favorite Backstreet Boys song?
Just one.
Just one or two.
Oh.
I can give you my top two, but that's okay.
So, I mean, quit playing games is like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's quit playing games. No explanation needed. But a couple albums later, I do have a soft spot for Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely. They have amazing, amazing ballads. Uh, I'm a huge fan of We've Got It Going On, their very first single. Blah, 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 blah. And yeah, The Call, Get Another
Obviously.
Boyfriend on Black and Blue. Get Down, of course. There's too many. Just every single song.
Many. I
It's
think
amazing.
you should cover some of those songs. Have you ever even thought about, or have you tried singing their songs?
I'm not kidding. I literally thought of that recently, and I told my husband because I did a little Christmas cover this last December, just for fun. And then I thought, yeah, yes, original music someday, 100%. But I thought covers are really fun and quite simple to do. And I thought I want to do a Backstreet Boys cover. There's so many songs I want to cover, so many, but I really do want to do a Backstreet Boys cover, 100%.
Yeah. I think that'd be,
So
as far as I know, I've never heard a woman cover their songs. So that would be good for you to help you stand out. I don't know.
yeah,
I know.
yes, 100%. I promise you, I did have that thought. And now that you've asked me the question, I'll take it as a sign from the
Yeah,
universe that I should look into that a little bit more seriously in the near future.
I want to. I don't know if you ever tried to go or wanted to go to the Sphere to see them perform. I
I would
want to
love
go.
that. I would really love that. I saw them, I was so lucky to see them just a few years ago with I was touring with Britt Floyd, happened to have the day off in Austin, Texas. We were playing the next day, but we had a day off. And on that same day off, who was playing at the I can't remember the venue, but it was an outdoor, yeah, it was an amphitheater. Um Backstreet Boys, who, and so I got tickets through Live Nation, so I had amazing, like very, very in in the front part of the venue in the first few rows, amazing seats. I like the stars were aligned for me to go see them. I was so excited, and it was such a good show. It was so, of course, I'm a very nostalgic person, but they're really good. Like they were dancing, they were singing live, they were not singing to track. They were
Hmm.
giving it their all, they were interacting with the crowd. Their energy was just super, it was fantastic. It was one of the best shows I ever saw. And I saw them when I was a kid years and years ago, but as an adult it was really special to see them again. So I'd love to go to the Sphere. I don't know how many more shows they're going to do. You never know. I could make it happen. Are they doing all of next year too? Do you know?
At the Sphere? No, they're. Well, I don't know about touring, but not at the Sphere. Not that much longer. No.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all the tickets are gone. So
I don't know, but apparently they're like kind of affordable. It's just like getting there and like hotel. That's like what costs a lot of money. But
100%. Yeah, yeah. You have to make it a trip and
I don't
have a
know.
little fun in Vegas. Why not?
Um, I want to see. Oh yeah, because you said again beyond being like singing, you've done some acting, you've done voice work for a cartoon called Oh Noah.
Yeah, that was super fun. That was
Yeah.
for HBO Kids.
Okay.
So I've had my Toronto agent since 2012, I want to say, and that was one of my first gigs through her. It was for a cartoon TV show, and I believe it was educational. So I think it was for preschool children to learn Spanish. So I got to do voice for a little girl character. I believe she was like 3 or 4 years old, and I got to speak both English and Spanish. And fun fact about that experience is my voice was more tired after a day of doing that voice, which I had to be upstairs. Hola, Noah, ¿cómo estás? Literally for hours in that register, my voice was so done at the end of the day. I was like, I feel like my entire larynx was up here, and I was like, that requires more stamina than singing a 3 hour show. It was interesting. So much fun though.
Yeah,
I
that's
loved it.
fair. I wonder if I should watch old episodes of that or continue with Duolingo because I need to learn some Spanish before I go to Mexico in a couple weeks. So
Oh, are you going to Mexico? Where are you going?
I'm just going for like for vacation with my family for like a week. I think Cancun or Riviera Maya. I don't know.
Nice. Well, I mean, it'll be a nice little break from the freezing cold. I mean,
Yeah,
I love winter. I think it's pretty, but it's just a lot. It's after
yeah.
Christmas, it's like, okay,
Well,
now we're into February, only a few more weeks of the
you
snow.
guys didn't get the storm that we got in Toronto like a week ago, eh? You guys
That
got
is right. No, we
yeah.
got a storm, a couple of storms, but not. I saw videos. I saw stories of my friends living in Toronto, and I was
Yep.
completely astounded at. That was insane. That was just absolutely crazy. The visibility was just awful.
Yeah, no, it was like a
Devastating.
record. And it was just so weird because normally it's everywhere outside of the city, like north or east of us that gets more than us, but we got
Hmm.
the city got the most, so it was really weird. Like 60 centimeters in less than 12 hours. So
Were
yeah,
the
a lot.
streetcars still operating? Silly question.
Surprisingly, yeah, they were okay. It's just I've lived here for 10 years. Toronto doesn't have the resources or like the capability of they can like push the snow away, but they don't get rid of it that well like Montreal does.
Well, we Quebecers, we're used to it.
Yeah,
This is a regular Tuesday.
exactly. So I don't know. Uh, what else is there about your music? Oh, by the way, I love how yeah, I saw you figured out you kind of screen recorded like my thing when I posted about Damned and you put it on your story. So good job. You
I
did
just
it.
pressed the little paper plane thing and I could share it. But
Oh, you could.
I
Huh?
I feel really silly. I actually don't. know how to screen record something. I mean, I know
Are
how to
you
screen record with your phone and you record the image, but I don't know how to screen record something where you actually get the proper sound. Do you get it?
or you get the prop? Well, I mean, I'm whenever I screen record stuff, it's just off YouTube, and then I'm just cropping it so that you don't see the entire page. You just see the video itself. Does that make sense? Or I don't know.
Is it literally like you just do the drop menu from your iPhone and then you press screen record?
Well,
That's all it
yeah,
is?
I'm not iPhone. I'm Samsung. But yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to
Just
try it.
just make sure you when you're recording a video with audio, sometimes you it would only record what's shown on the screen, but not the audio. So you have to make sure it's also recording the audio, if that makes
That's
sense.
the thing. Because I've
Yeah.
done screen recording before, but I would never get audio. It would only be just image. So I'll have to look into
Yeah.
that. Because
Okay.
I trust me, sometimes I go down rabbit holes of my old videos and I get super nostalgic and I'm like, oh, I remember shooting that and I remember that day and it was so much fun. I remember working with this person and I love going down memory lane. So you said it earlier. This year is going to be my 20th
Mm.
idolversary. So I don't know. I'm kind of brainstorming. I want to do something special. Where I'm thinking, do I want to like re-record a version of one of my first singles? Like I want to do something.
Well, I'm curious. Well, either you actually don't know anything or haven't heard anything, but yeah, that's a big anniversary, 20 years. So I'm surprised that like they wouldn't. Someone, I know Canadian Idol doesn't exist anymore, but someone should do something, whether it's you or someone on your. Yeah, makes
It would be
sense.
really fun. And we did have like a reunion a few years after the last season. So Canadian Idol lasted for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Um, and we did like a reunion on live television. I believe it was on Canada AM. So all of 6 winners, me, Ryan Malcolm, Kaylin Porter was joining us on by video conference because he was in Philadelphia at the time studying. He was going to school there. And then Theo Tams, Brian Mello, Melissa O'Neill, and myself. And it was really, really fun. And I wish they would, I wish we could organize our own reunion. That's something I've talked about sometimes. I saw Steffi D a few, is it a few years ago already? Maybe a year and a half ago. I was in Toronto and we went out to dinner and caught up and went, reminiscing. And then we FaceTimed Tyler, who was like, why are you guys calling me? Oh my God, this is such a great surprise. Anyway, so we could organize our own little reunion. You never know. Could be fun.
Reunions are great. As you know, nostalgia will always be a thing, especially with us millennials. But I think we should
100%.
definitely do that. And I would recommend, a recommendation is to focus a bit more on TikTok. You should post more on
Well,
TikTok.
I'm recently on TikTok. It's a new
Hmm.
thing. Yeah,
Yes. If you have
I'm
any,
starting
honestly,
to.
if you're not sure about anything, like I'm more than happy to help you. It's not like that much different, but like, yes, there's certain things that work better on TikTok versus Instagram. So, yeah,
Yeah, I'm definitely going to. I'm gonna want to educate myself a little bit more on TikTok because I know that
yeah,
that's one of the that's one of the tools right now for creators. Whether it's whether you're an actor or a musician or a music blogger or so. Do you play an instrument? Do you sing?
well, I think I don't. I play. I literally started guitar lessons just over a month ago. I saw a posting at the Christmas market for like guitar lessons. I'm like, I was just in a good mood. I'm like, yeah, let's try that. And so I go once a week and I practice in between. Like I have no end goal. It's just good to learn, and I know it's good for my mind. As someone, I have my father who has dementia, so of course,
Sorry.
playing guitar is like so good for your brain, right? So
Yeah.
just keeping myself stimulated is a good thing. Yeah.
It's very therapeutic and very healing. Music is.
Yeah. So I'm teaching myself little parts of Backstreet Boys songs, which is nice.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, their music is just yeah, I mean, music is super that's the universal language, right? Like you don't need to say any words. You can just strum along a few chords and just do some humming or that's something that can be really really healing and really therapeutic.
Yeah.
I
Or you could.
wish I yeah, the other day I was just having fun on the piano with my brother and I just play by ear, but I always kind of wished I read music. Do you read music at all?
Nope. Nope.
I tried to learn. Can't. I can play by ear, but I can't read. For the life of me, I can't sit down and read music theory and a score and just
No,
That's
I
my
could care less. So just kind of before we go, I'm just curious because again, you said yeah, you took a break, like done with Britt Floyd. Um, but you've been focusing on like some acting, other things. I know you're kind of like a content creator. You have some, you promote, you get some products and you talk about them on your social media. But in terms of music, do you think you want to focus a bit on music this year, or what do you think?
Um, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm in a phase of my life where I'm really open and excited to try new things. Um, I mentioned the acting. I've been with my agent. Well, I've been with my Toronto agent since 2012 and my Montreal agent since 2013. And then we just added someone new in our team too in Montreal. Um, I'm big into manifestation and like visualizing what you want to attract to your in your life. And I would really, really love to do more movies, to have, you know, maybe a recurring role in a series, maybe a musical series, something to do with, like I keep hoping that somebody's going to do like a Canadian version of Glee or something, or something
Mm,
along those lines. Um, I'm not close to trying, musical theater. I'm really kind of planting seeds right now and seeing where I land and manifesting new things. There's a few things in the works for down the road, perhaps next year, that right now I'm not allowed to talk about. But I'm really excited to see where life takes me. I want to do more acting. I never want to stop singing, of course. So whatever life throws my way, if it has music in it, I'm always gonna, choose that. Music is my first love, so and I think it's always going to be. It's in my bones. It's in my blood. I just love performing, um, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited for this next chapter of my life, and I love connecting with people. I love hearing from fans. Of course, I've got these amazing new fans that I made throughout my years with Britt Floyd from all over the world, a lot in the US, a lot in Europe, in Canada as well. I love interacting with people, and yeah, I'm excited for the future. And everyone, please stay
yeah.
tuned because I will be sure to keep everyone posted as things get more official.
Well, what's so crazy is like, I'm sure you got, like you said, when you were with Britt Floyd, you got this whole new fan base, maybe people who are older and beyond Canada, who then, if you would tell them, yeah, well, I also won this, basically it's American Idol version of, it was Canadian Idol, they would have been like, what? Like they would have no clue because like we're in this bubble. So it's
Hmm.
just interesting. So
Oh,
yeah.
so many people came up to me at the meet and greets at Brit Floyd shows in the US, and they would go like, "Oh, did you win the the Canadian American Idol?" And I would just laugh and be like, "Yeah, also known as Canadian Idol,"
I
because
love that.
American Idol has gone on for gosh, how many seasons now? Like
A lot.
a gazillion. That's it's the OG. That's a lie. The OG is Pop Idol from the UK. Um, but yeah, and I love the fact that I could be traveling all over and having my voice heard and on some of the tours with Brit, I was able to, I was selling my CDs and some people were buying my EP and having me sign it. And I'm like, I'm so lucky that my music can travel the world like that. And I get to, do what I love and meet all these people and visit new places. Like it's really a gift, and I hope I get to do this for a very very long time. Even if I wear different hats, sometimes actress, sometimes singer, sometimes songwriter, sometimes content creator. Like, and I'm an advocate as well for sobriety and mental health, and that's part of my mission now. As I went through the ups and downs of life, but yeah, I'm super grateful. And thank you for asking me to chat because I really really appreciate it. It's very enriching to exchange with another music lover.
Absolutely. Yes, my pleasure. And thank you. I love learning all these fun facts about Canadian artists and just highlighting Canadian artists because we have so much talent out there, both, current and I say established artists. I don't say old
Hmm.
artists. Not, you're
Yeah,
not old at all. We
wise.
are wise. Exactly. So it's always fun to just, learn as much as I can and also to educate the public about all the talent that we have here. But yeah, like I said, I'll basically take clips from this and then post them in the next few weeks. And if you want to share them, great. If you don't, that's okay. But yeah,
Of
that's
course
it.
I will. Of course I will. And thank you for allowing, because I've had a very wonderful career. I'm very grateful, but I also know that, I'm not as in the mainstream eye that I as I was before, like the few years after Idol. So I appreciate that you wanted to talk to me because, you know, this industry and this type of work can be very misunderstood. So it's kind of cool that, people get to hear from me, from about my experience and about my highlights and what I take out of it. And so yeah, it's refreshing. So thank you again.